On today's program, we're talking Combat Pro Wrestling with Yvonne Seeber, the promoter over there at Combat Pro Wrestling. She runs out of the Battle Palace, the lovely, fantastic Evolve Fitness right here in Seattle, Washington. The Battle Palace also hosts 3-2-1 Battle and other wrestling events. But Combat Pro shares the venue with 3-2-1, and they put on a hell of a show. You got to check them out sometime. You can look them up on Facebook, find out what their schedule is. But on today's program, I got Yvonne Seeber on the phone. We discuss, being a female promoter, her connection with HPG Pro, the old grappling league that was pretty popular around here for a couple of years, and how she developed the league and eventually went on to, do her own promotion, Combat Pro, up and running. And she also discusses a new grappling tournament that's coming up that's going to be part of Combat Pro Wrestling, sort of as a hybrid part of the show. The shows are becoming a little bit more hybrid with grappling and professional wrestling on the same card. She discusses how, she really wants to showcase to the fans where professional wrestling came from, and showcase some of the talented grapplers of the area, and from around the world for that matter. She discusses bringing in international talent such as Robbie E, and also in promoting local, young, hungry talent such as Just Exciting. Just had him on the show the other day as part of the 3-2-1 Battle episode. You can catch that a couple episodes back. Hear what Just Exciting had to say about his professional wrestling career and how it's coming up, etc. He's also a talent with Combat Pro Wrestling. And she discusses that and much more. We also touch on my man, New Jack. And we discuss Axl Rotten and hardcore wrestling. We also discuss, both those fine wrestlers' careers that include rasslin. Yeah, rasslin, daddy. Two of the hardcore icons in the industry ever, up there with Terry Funk, Mick Foley. You know what I'm saying? That whole ECW elite. Axl Rotten and New Jack. They're both wrestlers. A lot of people don't realize that. They want to concentrate on the deadly stuff, on the hardcore stuff. But what you might not know, what you're going to find out today, they were great wrestlers as well. And she also hints, or actually she rather just says right out, that New Jack is going to be coming to Seattle at some point. Just looking for the right opponent for the man. And I can't wait to find out who that's going to be, where it's going to be, the date, all that good stuff. Yeah, daddy, New Jack. Before we get to that interview, we'll remind you can catch us on iTunes, the Stitcher app, iHeartRadio, Google Music, everything, baby. We everywhere, daddy. And soon, catch us live on the airwaves. I got some conversations coming up with some radio production people interested in having the art of hitting your opponent with a planet on their radio station. Currently, we are based out of the confines of the Jimmy Flame Mansion. Look it up on Google. It's true, baby. But hopefully we'll be expanding into a brick and mortar radio station soon. If not, we'll just keep recording the episodes here. Heck, we'll keep recording episodes here and just feeding them out to the radio stations. So again, if you're a station manager or involved in production, reach out to us. We all about expanding, baby. We all about growing. We all about getting the message of the wrestling, big time wrestling, and all things pertinent to the public in a very entertaining way because, I guess I'm just that entertaining. They said, Jimmy Flame, you be tooting your horn all the time. I ain't tooting my horn, baby. I'm just repeating what they say. But anyhow, let's get on over there to that interview with Yvonne Seeber from Combat Pro Wrestling. Yo, Yvonne, how in the hell are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Better that you're here, for sure. Today we're talking promoters, and you have a unique perspective in the wrestling business as a female promoter. Before we get to that, tell us a little bit about CPW and how that got started.
Well, CPW, I've always been a fan of wrestling since it was a family affair. My grandma used to cook for a bunch of wrestlers back in the day, and so I grew up watching wrestling. And as I got older and got into the local scene, I used to go to all the big time wrestling shows and meet a bunch of wrestlers. Well, I happened to meet a local wrestler at a TNA show named Exile. And became friendly with him, and he told me about the local wrestling scene, which was in Marysville at the time. So being a fan, yeah.
Are you talking about the Exile, the big guy in green that wrestled out here?
Yes, the big green
Excellent.
guy. Yes.
Excellent. We all know about him. That's cool.
Yeah, we missing him in the business, but things happen. But yeah.
Exactly.
So, me and my roommate, we decided to, go check it out, and kind of fell in love with the whole thing. And then, unfortunately that promotion, had to close down. And so I had to venture out to other promotions, and, other promotions were good, but then I started noticing a lot of, should we say, drama that, as a fan, we shouldn't have seen nor known anything about.
Amen to that.
No, you're supposed to keep that shit in the locker room. It's not supposed to be out where fans are involved in that. So, it kind of left a little bitter taste in my mouth. Being a female, I had a lot of, I guess, people judged me by being a female, being very well, I guess I'm not well-spoken, but I speak my mind very well.
That's right. I'll attest to that.
Sometimes a little too much, but that's who I am.
Right.
A lot of the stuff just became too much for me, and all the rumors and all that. Well, I had a best friend in the business who was a wrestler, who had himself stepped out of wrestling due to all the drama and the politics. And he came up with this idea of HPG Pro, which nobody originally wanted to back him with it, because he had burned a lot of bridges, and because he's got an ego, nobody really wanted
typical wrestler stuff,
Exactly. Nobody really wanted to get on board with him. Well, I was tired of the drama, and I wanted to help create something fun again. So I jumped on board with him and became his partner in creating that and promoting that. And we did very well for, a couple years. And then, unfortunately, the wrestler in him came back out in that, he needed to be center of attention, and changed what our concept was and ended up back in a wrestling ring. Well, that's not what we had created HPG for. It was totally different. Yes, there was some wrestling involved, more like chain wrestling, but it was submission and grappling. So once he started switching up on me, I kind of decided that was no longer a good fit for me. So I closed the doors on HPG, but I never closed the door on what I wanted. I always wanted wrestling to be fun again. I wanted it to be where, you can bring the kids, or even the family shows or the non-family shows like 321, make wrestling fun again. and no more of this drama and pissing contests. And, you know, unfortunately, some promoters around, not just around here, but everywhere, are wrestlers or ex-wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, you know, they can't let go of, hey, it's time to, you know, push the company. It's time to push the new generation. They can't do that. So it started getting stagnant for me. Like, you go to a wrestling event, and every time you go, it's the same thing, that, you know, week after week, month after month, and you're like, wow, can we get some variety? Can we get some originality? And I kind of was like, you know, I want that. And since I know, as a fan for all the years I've been a fan, I know what attracted me to wrestling, and it's time that I help bring that back. And I kind of feel at this point that I am helping do that. I mean, I'm getting a lot of good feedback. People are actually taking Combat Pro more serious now. You know, we're getting out there. I have an awesome team, which is just fantastic, that they love it just as much as I do and want it to thrive just as much as I do. So the ride has been extremely full of drama, ups and downs, but at the end of the day, it was all worth all of it, of where we're at today with it.
I was going to say that's sounds about right there. It wouldn't be wrestling without a little drama. That's for sure.
Oh no, you know this, because that kind of comes with the territory.
It does. Well, you know, it's like we're in a business based on creating drama, and you know, sometimes that spills backstage into politics and all that. So, like, some people don't know when to turn the light bulb off, and, you know, others do, and, you know, it's just something that permeates through the whole industry. So,
drama needs
you
to
said
play out in the ring only.
I heard, amen to that. So you mentioned you know, so you have CPW, what you want to push, you know, the new generation, the young talent. I've noticed a guy on the scene named Just Exciting, who's been on a bunch of your cards. I've seen him on other cards as well, and he's a guy that's, you know, he's getting a little bit of a push right now. Do you want to talk about him a little bit as a talent, as a CPW talent?
Just Exciting is one of them kind of wrestlers that every promoter should look for. Yes, he is young and he is still learning, but this is a young man he wants to learn. He wants to get out there and do the work. He even will take criticism, which most people have a hard time doing. You know, when you try and tell them, okay, this is what I think you could do better, some people get all butthurt and think you're trashing them instead of you trying to help them, that you're trashing them, which is, you know, unfortunately is kind of sad. But he is and he listens, and that is just fabulous. Yes, he's a little, you know, on the soft side, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, and, you know, that's pretty normal, being young and in this business and kind of experiencing some of the dirtier parts of this business that he's already had to experience, which, you know, is unfortunate, but you kind of have to experience some of that stuff to make you stronger in this business. He has, you know, he has gone from being very over the top to now sitting back, listening, watching, paying attention. That's important in this business, because a lot of people, you know, they train for a minute. You have a promoter or, you know, a booker tell you, oh, you're fabulous, you're good, you don't need to do it anymore. And that's a shame to have anybody tell any talent, oh, you've learned a little bit, oh, you're good, you don't need no more. You always need to get better. You always need to keep conditioning yourself, because things change. You need to be prepared for that. He's willing to put in the work. And for me,
I heard that.
For any wrestler, to me, that's willing to put in that kind of work and also promote the companies that you work for, he does that very well too. You know, a lot of boys think that they just can show up and that's all they have to do to work. Well, to make this business grow and to make it thrive, you have to do just as much work as us promoters do to promote your damn self. We only can do so much.
Right, because wrestlers themselves are a business among themselves as well. I mean, they have to promote themselves along with the companies that they work for. I fully agree with that. Now you brought in, not only do you promote local guys, and young hungry talent, but you've also promoted some international stars. Let's talk about Robbie E a little bit. You brought him in recently for a seminar, and he also was showcased on one of your cards. Let's talk about Robbie E a little bit.
Robbie E actually is a very awesome all the way around individual. For one, he reached out to me when he was looking to come to Washington, and it was kind of I guess it was one of them special moments for me as being a promoter, is having somebody as he is come to me wanting to do some business. That was a great moment for me. And he came and, he really enjoyed it here. He enjoyed it so much that he's already wants to come back and has asked for his rematch against my champ, which is CJ Edwards. And he is coming back. We are bringing him back in May. He really enjoyed working here and, wants to make Seattle one of his, regular stops as like B-boy. So I'm looking forward to expanding, and granted, yes, I will push and promote local talent to no end, because at the end of the day, that's what needs to be done. But bringing in some talent from all over that is willing to come in and work our fucking local talent, that is fantastic. And for them to actually say, for Robbie, for example, to say, I had a great match with CJ, and I want a rematch already. That's saying something for our company and the people that work in it. Because most of the time you can bring in these big boys, and they come and get paid, they shake your hand, they go away, and you don't hear from them again. It was a payday for them. Others really want to help you. They want to help you build your company any way they can because they love the business. And he was fun.
Excellent, yeah. Oh, heck yeah. He seemed like a lot of fun. I actually had to miss that one because, me, I get booked all over this freaking place.
Oh, yeah, you're just a busy man. You're a busy man.
I'm just a busy man.
I will see you at CPW eventually, Jimmy. It's going to happen. It's just,
Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I tell you what, after this interview, we need to talk some business. But speaking of expanding CPW, you mentioned to me before that you are starting a new grappling division. Let's talk a little bit about that. You have a grappling tournament coming up. Let's get into that a little bit.
Yes, as of right now, as people have seen, that my HPG titles were still in circulation and still being used. And that was mainly because why pay for something and let it sit in the closet and collect dust when I had boys that still wanted to do the grappling end, and I love the grappling. I enjoyed it, or I would have never got involved in that company. So I said, you know what? We're going to use these belts for right now. Then I'm going to come up with something that's different, but still along the same lines, but a little different. So as of the last show, the HPG titles have all been retired. Just Exciting was able to win and keep his, but he retired it for me. John Rodriguez is going to announce that his is being retired and going on the show. Starting April 22nd, we are starting a new CPW grappling tournament that I believe we're looking at about August or maybe September doing the actual belt reveal, because we're going to run it for a few months. We have some new grappling people coming in. April 22nd, the very first new tournament will be John Rodriguez versus Randy Zellers, who Randy Zellers used to be one of my HPG tournament winners. I believe it was either him or John that were actually the last tournament winner. I believe it was Randy. Little foggy at this point, but it was one of the two was my last tournament winner.
Right.
We're gonna
and real quick. Real quick, when you're referring to grappling, you're talking about essentially like shoot wrestling.
Yes. There will be no.
Okay, I just want to make sure that everyone got it. So like old school rules, like sort of like catch as catch can style, without the no closed fists, no eye gouges, stuff like that, no striking, just pure wrestling.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Back
I'm getting excited for that.
Bringing back the old school so people actually see this is where wrestling actually started. So, I don't want to concentrate we all know that wrestling is where it's at. That's the entertainment, that's the fun, that's all that. Grappling is just going to give the fans just that little different, little extra something for them to enjoy. One person that's also going to be joining the grappling team, besides just exciting because we already know that he's already in there. DeMarcus James is already in there. CJ Edwards, which a lot of people do not realize, was also one of my grappling champions, and I'm sure he will come back and play in this tournament. But I'm also going to bring in As Is, because As Is a jiu-jitsu person as well, and he has shown interest.
Oh yeah, he is.
So
yeah, he is. He's got a heck of a BJJ background.
Oh yes. So we're going to add As Is into the tournament. It's just a matter of when he will be, when his place will be. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I have a lot of people that are very interested in making the tournament something special. The new belt is under design right now. John Rodriguez is going to take his time to make that as beautiful as possible, like always, because he is the designer he was the designer of HPG belts, and he's the designer of Combat Pros belts as well. So he's going to make it.
Can you give us a little? Can you give us a little preview of what these belts, what the belt might look like, or is that something we have to buy a ticket and see?
Yep, you have to buy a ticket and see that one, honey.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. So, so you got the grappling tourney coming up. The pro wrestling. Are these cards going to be sort of mixed cards where you'll have grappling and pro wrestling on the same card?
Yes.
Excellent.
It's funner that way, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge fan of the ground game. I mean, I still watch old episodes of the World of Sport. I mean, to me, that's just great wrestling, and just any kind of grappling. I'm a fan of. So your CPW is currently based most of the events that you promote out of the Battle Palace. Is that a continuing relationship, or are people going to continue seeing CPW at the Battle Palace?
Yes, for at least as of right now, we enjoy the hell out of the Battle Palace, and we enjoy 321, and I got to give a shout out to them, because if it wasn't for them opening their arms to CPW and welcoming us into the family, we probably wouldn't be at that beautiful Evolve Underground. And I really enjoy the family vibe that I have with 321. We do work together on a lot of things. We share talent. There is no drama. It is fantastic, and it's a great venue. Now, this summer, you will see Combat Pro out doing other shows. We have a few in the works of doing some summer shows outside. We're in the works of discussing doing a co-show or a double show. I don't know exactly how we're going to call it, with Combat Pro and Northwest Pro, and probably PWF as well. We're going to show everyone that these different promotions can still work together and show what business is like, and how we can rock it for all of us and make it proper.
I'm still yearning I'm so yearning for every promotion to come together and just declare like one heavyweight champion of Washington State. That's been a dream of mine forever.
Oh, you know that one would be fantastic, but you know there is way too many chiefs in the kitchen for all that.
Right. I understand that, but so the Washington State laws it's looking like they're going to change soon to benefit promoters, to make it easier for promoters to obtain the license and run bigger shows throughout the entire state of Washington. Have you thought about how the change in these laws will affect the way you do business in the future yet?
If things go the way they're supposed to go, I'll be excited, because to be honest, I have tried to go legit too, and right now it is so damn difficult for us to even get the foot in the door to try it. They want so much, and it's just ridiculous. It's like, we're not boxing, we're not MMA fighting. Why do you need all of this nonsense? So for me, I really hope, and I will do whatever I can to help make these laws change, because it's difficult. And if they change, it'll at least give most of us a fighting chance to do it the way we really want to do it.
Amen to that. I know one of the big provisions that are changing would be the ambulance requirement for certain promoter licenses, which would basically exempt promoters from having to throw it out, having to shell out it's anywhere from like $500 to $2,000 or something crazy like that for to have an ambulance squad, and that would be a significant savings. I don't know how else to put it, in just overhead money that you'd have to come with. So I can only imagine that would inspire you to run more shows if you knew you didn't have to pay that kind of money up front just to get your foot in the door.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, these laws are so old and outdated, and nobody's really looked at that. Doesn't apply to wrestling. We're entertainment. Granted, stuff does happen now and again, and somebody may get hurt now and again, but it's not as likely, so there's just so much of it needs to be redone, relooked at, revised, fixed up. Most of it doesn't.
Right. I know. Most people are excited about these proposed changes. I said on a prior episode, that the voting is in process. It passed committee by a vote of like 32-2 or something like that, and it appears it's going to be. It appears that the changes are going to happen. There's really no opposition to it. It's just a matter of it, of the bill actually making it past the Senate or whatever. And really the only holdup is, the state has other issues such as health care and, these really important issues right now that they're dealing with, and that's sort of the only thing holding the vote up. But, it could be like next week that they decide to go ahead and throw the vote out, and things could change literally overnight.
And that would be fantastic. Because let me tell you, I would love to be able to, do more shows, run more places if it, saves a little bit. I'm not trying to say, I'm talking about being cheap and not want to make sure my wrestlers are safe, because at the end of the day, my wrestlers are my number one priority. But God, just to make it easier for us to do what we do, it would just be fantastic.
Oh, yeah. And, hopefully that happens sooner than later.
Yes.
So real quick, I'm just going to throw this one on you. Do you have any funny New Jack stories?
Everybody wants to know that.
Well, he's such a character. He's sort of like a mythical figure in professional wrestling. So anyone that knows anything about him, people are always like, "Oh, tell me a New Jack story."
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people do know that I'm very close with Jerome. But most people are terrified of him, and that just cracks me up because everybody feeds into everything they've read about him or heard about him. I'm like, come on, guys. Granted, we all know that a lot of the stories are true, A lot of them have been blown up a lot bigger than they actually were. But at the end of the day, the man is an awesome person, but he is one that loves to stay to himself. It's funny that he loves wrestling so much, but he would rather be by himself.
Right.
I won't give up too much about him because, he is New Jack at the end of the day. So Yvonne was always a little scared of the New Jack, but Yvonne loves Jerome. And if he ever, needed me, I'm there on a dime for him because, we be friends forever. I am going to try at one point, though, to bring him to CPW because he did tell me that, yes, he will come work for me. But I got to find the right person. All these youngsters,
I heard that.
We'll do it. No, you got to been in the business for more than a minute for me to put you in a ring with New Jack.
I was going to say one of the predeterminations should be they have to know about his work at Smoky Mountain.
Right, because nobody seems to do that. That's what makes me
exactly. The thing is like
all he does. I'm like, no, fool.
He is hard. He's hardcore. He's about as hardcore as they come. But also, if you look at his Smoky Mountain stuff, and the dude can wrestle. I mean, he can tangle. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about wrestling. I mean, he can wrestle.
He can get down, and I tell people that all the time. They're like, well, all he does is hurt people. I'm like, no, guys. Yes, that's what he did for ECW because that's what that era was all about. And yes, everybody was making money and doing that shit. They all loved it. But before all of that, he was in Smoky Mountain as a wrestler. No weapons, just in there whooping somebody's fucking ass. So don't ever tell me that he can't work, because he can work.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Mustafa were a great tag team down there too. I mean, they're one of the Smoky Mountain legends. I mean, and you're just not a Smoky Mountain legend unless you know how to wrestle. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's not what Smoky Mountain was known for.
Right. Yeah, people seem to, they get that one-sided mind, and that's all they get tunnel vision. They don't see all the other stuff.
That's like Axl Rotten is known as like one of the ECW originals, hardcore. He brought the Taipei Death Match and the barbed wire baseball bat match, and he brought that stuff into wrestling. He doesn't get enough credit for that stuff. But what a lot of people, sort of like don't see is the dude was a hell of a wrestler too. He had before ECW, he was out there, wrestling with the best of them. And even during his career, he'd go off and do indie spots where he was a wrestler. I mean, he just like New Jack or any of the other guys in ECW. I mean, the money was there to throw people through tables, and any wrestler with a brain on their mind is going to throw somebody through a table for money.
Oh,
you know what I mean? That stuff is not easy to come by.
Yeah, and it's sad that he's, not with us anymore.
Yeah, it is. He was, one of the guys that helped bring me into this crazy business in the first place, and I still can't believe it's been over. It's been a little over a year already.
I know.
Since I got the news, I was sitting in law school when that happened, and it just I don't know, it messed with me for a long time.
Yeah, I was. It hit me kind of weird too because I had actually we had sent a tweet back and forth that morning of, and then later I go on to Facebook because I tweeted something about something he had done, and he had tweeted back, and later that day I looked on Facebook and I was like, no, you gotta be fucking kidding. I went back and like,
right, well, his last,
like wow.
Right. Well, his last tweet was, something, I don't have it in front of me, but it was something to the effect of, like, you can do it your way all you want, but I'm always going to do it my way. And that was just kind of like, that was just weird that was his last tweet that and I think it's still pinned to the top of the page. Like, someone else has assumed the account, to sort of preserve his memory, etc. But that was the last tweet that he did himself, and that's just, I don't know, it just still resonates with me to this day. Do it your way.
Yep. And he did. He always did, too, though. And, he up there doing it his way now, too. Shit. Probably up there fucking people.
He also helped a lot of people, break in. I mean, he was one of those guys that, he was hard as nails in the ring, but, outside the ring, if he saw that you had the fire, so to speak, he'd give his freaking shirt to you, you know?
Yep. We need more of him like that.
For sure, for sure.
We got you, Jimmy. We got you because you are very much just like that.
Well, thank you.
I've noticed that. If the boys are willing to listen and they want your help, you're one of the ones that's actually going to guide them in the right direction.
Hey man, all I can do is tell them the mistakes I've made and tell them not to do those.
Well, you know, that's fantastic that you're still at that point that you don't feel you're above them. You're still
no, not at all. No,
them, you know, and that
no, we're
that brother.
We're all out there.
Make sure that brotherhood is actually a legit thing, and that's a very beautiful thing, Jimmy, because most are not like you.
Hey, don't forget it's a sisterhood too.
Well, yeah, that's right. But you know, I gotta say, unfortunately, yes, I'm a female, but my balls are bigger than most of the men around. So, you know, that's how.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So speaking of being female, I'm just, you know, I obviously don't know what it's like to be a female in the wrestling business because I'm a male or whatever. But as a female promoter, let's talk let's touch on that before we you know, conclude this awesome interview. What's it like being a female promoter? I know it's like a completely ambiguous question, but you know, what's it like you know, dealing with the boys as a female and putting this stuff together and like just, you know, some of the things you encounter on a daily basis running a promotion?
Well, you know, in the very beginning of creating CPW, being a female, it was a little, I guess, not hard for me because I've always came from a male world. I was raised by, you know, a single biker dad, and, you know, so I'm always got more male, I guess, in me than I do female. But, so I guess it was a little hard for a lot of the guys originally. To look at me as, oh God, you're little, some say I'm cute, whatever, and you're gonna be our boss? I don't know if we can do this. Well, I think I've proven that it doesn't matter that I'm little, I'm female, I'm cute, I'm a bitch. I'm here to do the business, and as long as you can do what you need to do, we're good. But one thing I will not tolerate, and I had to say that only once in my locker room, and we will hope I never have to do it again, is I, as a female, will not tolerate anybody sitting in any locker room downgrading women. And a lot of the boys, you know, when they all get together, they kind of, you know, do that little pissing contest and start running their mouths a little too much. I just have to put it in check. For one, this company is owned by a woman. So I won't tolerate none of that. What you do outside of here is not my business. But if it affects the company, then it affects me, it affects the fans. We ain't having it. But, you know, now I think now most people don't look at me as, oh, she's a female promoter. They just look at me as she's a promoter and she's here to do work and put on a good show and not deal with any drama. And if we do have drama, we take care of our drama in the locker room. Our drama will never come out in front of the fans. And if it does, and a worker does it, or a staff member does it, well, y'all can go get your stuff and take yourself home because we're not going to play that game. It's a new era.
I heard that.
None of that.
I heard that. I love it. I love it. Well, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this interview. It's been a blast having you on here. I'm glad to finally get you on here.
Well, thank you for having me, Jimmy. I really appreciated it.
All right, Daddy. That concludes our interview with Yvonne Seeber from Combat Pro Wrestling today. Don't forget, you can catch them on the Facebooks. Yeah, Daddy. They also got a Twitter handle, too. I forgot to ask her about that. Look up Combat Pro Wrestling on Twitter. If you have to go to my Twitter, at JimmyFlame77, just look at my friends list. I'm all connected up with them. I think it's CPW_wrestling, but just check it out. You'll see the graphic of the Spartan mask. It's part of their logo. It's a really cool logo. You can catch that over there at the Twitters. Come to my account at JimmyFlame77. Just look at my friends list, or shoot me a message. Give me a shout on Twitter. I'll holler back. Just ask anybody out there. Ask Mr. Fitness if I holler back. Yeah, baby. Who loves you, baby? Catch me over there on the Facebook as well. Just look up JimmyFlame77. Look for the man in the pink tights and the blonde hair, baby. I'm over there on Facebook, active all the time, talking to people like yourself about that wrestling, daddy. That's right, baby. Well, thanks for tuning in today. I'm going to get out of here. I got to prepare for a big weekend of pro wrestling. Got me a big steel cage match coming up with Johnny Paradise over there at NWWA down there in Portland, Oregon. Get on down there if you can. Milwaukee's Elks Lodge. All matches are in a cage. We got Chief Rod out of Kula Kula coming in, taking on Wade Hess in what promises to be perhaps the bloodiest match of the year. It's already a nominee for Match of the Year. Heck, I might even vote for it right now. I don't know. I'm jacked to see that. Not only do I get to be in the locker room and go do my own fighting, but I'm going to get to stand behind that curtain and watch them two boys fight. It's going to be a doozy, daddy. But until next time, get out there and support some local pro wrestling, no matter where you at. Go on out and see it. Wrestling is alive and well, baby. Until next time, this is The Art of Hitting Your Opponent with a Planet, hosted by Jimmy Flame Daddy, and I'm out. Ow!